Chapter 469. His Majesty has expressed that voicing complaints about the forced vacation this way is more than sufficient. Apparently, they have set up barriers around the area because so many people have been gathering and it nearly caused an incident. Everyone must have had a tough time. On the third day of his vacation, at midday, Yudhir lay down, staring at Kishir's face as he casually read the letter brought by the courier pigeon that had arrived for the first time in 3 days. Listening to Kishir's soothing voice, Yudhir felt as if his eyes were heavy, sprinkled with sleeping powder. I had planned to read the translated research journal of the first Duke Dane today. Was it because I didn't sleep well last night? Last night, after Kishir had carried out the extraordinary feat, Yudhir had spent the night half awake in the blend of excitement and anxiety. He was thrilled by the incredible miracle he had witnessed, yet concerned whether Kishir would be all right after absorbing his energy. However, even after watching all night, he had found no issues with Kishir's body. Even after a day had passed, not just his cheeks and lips, but even the blood flow between his legs appeared overly vibrant. Just to be sure, Yudhir opened up the flow of energies in Kishir's body again first thing in the morning. He even attempted to maneuver one of the tiny streams of energy entangled in Kishir using the Awakener's power. If Yudhir had done it alone, it would have been a very cautious and difficult process. However, Kishir assisted him with his own power, making the task much easier than expected. It felt like he would soon get the hang of it to be able to do it alone with a few more tries. After moving the energy, I could also untangle it directly, strengthen it, and lastly, perhaps I could correct the elements that disturb the balance from my end. Thinking such thoughts, he quietly closed his mouth, waiting for the continuation of the conversation, but no voice came. When Yudhir turned his head, Kishir finally asked as if he had been waiting for it. While I can't say that I had absolutely no intention of complaining, don't misunderstand. What happened last night was to fulfill a promise I wanted to keep, and His Majesty is not yet aware of that fact. Yudhir blinked a few times before mumbling quietly, "I'm fine with it." He had suspected Kishir would do something ever since he wasn't particularly submissive about the forced vacation order. If one could achieve two purposes with one action, it would be stranger not to do so. Yudhir was more than satisfied just by having witnessed last night's miracle up close, so he didn't care about the rest. Instead, if His Majesty bothered to send a letter himself, is he all right? "Are you worried about His Majesty?" Kishir responded softly. "Of course I am." "Then let's dine at the Sun Palace tonight." The suggestion was so natural that even Yudhir, who considered himself immune to Kishir's usual charm, took a moment to understand its implication. "Excuse me?" "The letter says so. If you have nothing else to do, come and have the dinner we couldn't share because of that unfortunate incident." "Is His Majesty saying he will lift the ban on you entering the Sun Palace?" "No, the ban remains, but going to the palace boldly on my own accord and sneaking in to just have dinner at His Majesty's invitation are slightly different things." So, it was that the Emperor had discreetly written for Kishir to make a brief visit to the palace. In his previous life, Yudhir El had often received similar instructions from Emperor Kashtian, so understanding the message wasn't too difficult. Of course, Emperor Kashtian had never extended the invitation for something as warm-hearted as a meal. "Understood. Please proceed." "Proceed? Didn't I just say today's dinner is to be at the Sun Palace? The invitation includes my assistant as well." Only then did Yudhir realize that he had slightly misunderstood Kishir's intention. "He wants both of us to join him for dinner at the palace?" Although it was a casual, unofficial meeting during a vacation, the palace was not a place one could easily visit on a whim. This was especially true for Yudhir El, who was merely a member of the cavalry. He had considered that they might eventually meet to discuss Emperor Kalusa's treatment, but he had never imagined that their first meeting would be like this. Yudhir swallowed his astonishment before replying. I doubt His Majesty would have specifically invited me. Of course not. Kishir calmly nodded, his lips curving into a slight smile. However, every time I have entered in this manner before, I have usually been accompanied by Nathan. I assume His Majesty will think the same about you accompanying me this time. You mean you have dined with the Emperor with Nathan before? Quite often in the past. Kishir's words left Yudhir speechless, and Kishir studied his expression with squinted eyes. Don't fret, if you're planning to heal His Majesty, isn't it better to get to know him first? ... If I have learned anything from yesterday and today's experiences, it's that manipulating the energy within someone else's body is not an easy task. The reason it worked relatively smoothly for us is likely because we know each other well. Yudhir had vaguely reached the same conclusion himself. Kishir softly brushed Yudhir's cheek with his fingers and leaned in for a kiss. In any case, I will need to inform His Majesty about this and give him time to prepare and decide. The sooner we start, the better. An informal setting like tonight is perfect for this sort of discussion. Understood. Then I will join you. At Yudhir's heavy yet resolute reply, Kishir grinned briefly. Good, but there is one more thing I would like to say. What is it? I intend to participate in treating His Majesty as well. For a moment, Yudhir's mind went blank. Ever since he first decided to heal and save Emperor Kalusa, who was fated to die, Yudhir had imagined countless scenarios, but none of them had included Kishir saying something like this. What are you trying to say? You joining in? That's absurd. Why is it absurd? Think about everything we have done so far. Kishir's face remained calm, as if he had anticipated Yudhir's objection. Tasks that were difficult alone became much easier when we combined our strengths. My power complements what you are trying to do exceptionally well. I have tested it on myself and it worked. I think it would be worth attempting on His Majesty as well. Did you really expend your power to confirm that? Yes, I had planned to step back if my powers were ineffective, but now that I have learned that they also work on intangible targets, there is no reason to do so. Kishir was unyielding, but the composure in his eyes unmistakably signaled that he had made up his mind. Yudhir bowed his head slightly before speaking. However, using the power that you wield on yourself is different from this situation. If we are not careful, both of us could be in danger. That risk exists for you as well. You should be aware of that. I am, but it didn't matter what happened to him. He had grown fairly confident that the pure power of the red stone, which he had manipulated multiple times, would bring him pain at times but would not kill him. But Kishir's life was different. He wanted to say that, yet the words wouldn't come out easily. The expression that the man before him would bear if he said that had vividly flashed in his mind. Yudhir? Kishir called his name. He reached out and gently stroked Yudhir's furrowed forehead. I'm not suggesting that we try this today. All we are doing today is formally introducing you to His Majesty and having dinner together. To treat His Majesty, we need to first make a thorough diagnosis and consider the best options, and we also have to listen to his opinions. ... And I have no intention of letting you handle everything alone, knowing that I can help. If you were in my position, you would have told me the same, wouldn't you? Yudhir lightly bit his lip. Think it over. I'm not asking you to choose this option because I don't trust your capabilities as an assistant, but because if there is a way to increase the chances of success, I would like you to consider it. If there is a better method than what I have suggested, I will willingly step back. He had lost. Yudhir realized that there was no way for him to win against the well-prepared argument of Kishir.